Oh, Brandon is the Friday guy, but I don't see Brandon, dude. I think he was hauling equipment. Okay, we don't have Olivia, so we. That happens to me sometimes. Or worse, somehow in my pocket, like one of the radio apps will come on, like TuneIn Radio or Pandora or whatever those things are. Then I often listen to like the comedy channels on it, some like Bill Burr or Patrice O'Neill or somebody really rude will start blasting out of my pocket right in the middle of class. Would you like to play saxophone today? Well, our soprano is not here today, so, and our other soprano, Brandon, has not arrived yet, so, let's take a look at some stems from another project. I was also, when there he is. Okay, this is a, let's see if the audio files are here. No. You want to do your file?
What do you mean do it?
Just open it and play it.
Okay. I can do that.
Go ahead.
Wet?
Yeah, blow it up so we can see a little better. That'd be the green button.
I see.
So you've got MIDI files. Why don't you just tell us what you did, and then we'll listen.
I used your keyboard for all the things after I made a click track. And I just made a part using this keyboard.
Let's hear it. Well, that was really fun. Let's have a big round of applause. Or, okay, what I want you to do is open the mixer and you can command equal sign set. Okay, now your instruments are across the top there? In your...
Yeah.
Why don't you click on those and let's see which instruments you're using. Just click it. Okay, structure.
Oh yeah, this is the drums.
Cool. All right, what else you got? I use structure a lot, actually. That is...
Expandy 2. Or
yeah.
expand.
That's fun to work with. It's good to start with something, and it can be a little complicated. And what else?
I think it's all the same.
All expands.
Mhm.
Now, did you use a template or did you load all these?
Do it.
Did you open a template to get all this stuff and play it all in, or did you load in all the instruments?
I don't know what I did.
Okay, then. Let's hear it again. Like let's just do that, or
What's that?
the wiggle on the keyboard wiggle. You know, the little thing that wiggles on your keyboard. I don't have one on that one. It's just got portamento between the notes.
Oh yeah, the keys.
Cool. Well, I think the next thing, maybe not to this project, but to a project, is to record something, like
Something else.
with a microphone.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. You asked a very good question about the click the other day. Why did it not get the first note? It was counting off two measures. And under setup, there are click count off preferences. So if it's counting off a measure or two measures, that means it's going to start recording after that. I generally don't work with a count off. I just remember what I counted it off to, and I like that amount of space in front of the recording anyway. But so anyway, if you click on click count off, this is saying 2 bars, and that's what was confusing us the other day. So let us close this and open the file that we were working on the other day, and we'll straighten it out and we'll be ready to use it when Olivia gets back. Some inputs are missing. Okay. This has actually got a whole bunch of tracks going on at it at the same time. So you got a drum?
I'll go get one. What do you want? A snare drum? A tom?
I think a tom.
A tom?
Yeah.
I'll go get one.
Or you can get a snare and we could use it on snare and tom.
Okay, yeah.
That might be. Anyway, let's take a minute to set up the recording, and I would like to do just single drum hits, and then we're going to apply our compressor to get started on compression on that. This project we will leave for another day. All right. Someone else gets to set it up and I'll talk you through it who wants to do that, other than Brian, who's already set one up.
Setting up Pro Tools or?
Setting up our file that we're about to work with. We can take volunteers, that'll be fun. If you haven't set one up yet, now's your time.
Oh, I ain't set mine up yet.
Huh?
I thought I set mine up, but I didn't set mine up yet.
All right, go ahead then. We'll start back from the beginning. Oh, we are at the beginning. Okay, so have a seat, double click Pro Tools there. Okay, I want us to look at the first page so you don't get too confused. Did you double click the Pro Tools icon? Oh, it's seemingly already open. Go to File and click Create New. Okay, so you have two options here, Create or Recent. All right. The other option is to click that box there, which is Create from Template. And we'll do that next. But today we're going to create a blank file. So what you're going to do is check that wave. 24-bit you can change to 16-bit or you can leave it at 24-bit. It's up to you. These will be fine. And now you need to give it a name. Okay, so he's got a file, he's got a name on it. We're going to use his file for our drumming. So let us make click on Track, New, and for this we're only doing mono, right? So click Mono and one track and make sure it says audio file, and the last one doesn't matter. Samples are easier to deal with than ticks. Okay, and say create. Now this has been defaulted to the last person who used this, and you can see that it's very small there. Do you see the this right here? So click on that, and no, just to the right of there, the ruler right there, click down, yeah. Now make it bigger, like large or something. Yeah, I have to do things bigger. Okay, so what I want to do now is you can mic drums a number of different ways, but if you're doing a drum set, it's almost easier to just back off completely and do a stereo mix of the drums. Other than that, you have to put a mic on a bunch of drums. Does that make sense? So sometimes, depending on your resources, now if you do have the resources, there are specialized drum mic kits that will clip on to the rim of the drum, and then you have a number of different miking options for that. And there's a lot of opinions on the way you mic drums. So, we're going to start kind of basic. Here's the diaphragm of the mic, and this is not the situation where something is blowing at it like a trumpet or something, or blowing over a flute, or someone singing into it. It's...
Is it falling down?
I think it's okay. We'll just start there. Now, this is a condenser mic, so I'm going to turn on the phantom power. And we're going to turn down the speakers. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is set levels. So I need you to arm the audio track by clicking on that dot right there. Right there. No, the dot. Yes, and it should turn red. Okay. Excuse me for a second. Now it doesn't have any input. Man. Not sure how that happened. Okay. I don't think you would have been able to fix that, so if that happens, better give me a call. Now we have an input, right? Okay, you probably didn't see what happened there, but when we went to click to arm the recording, it said there was no input selected. And somehow the Macintosh had not selected the interface there. It had selected some generic thing. So I had to tell Pro Tools to look for the interface and then tell it again to do that. That's going to be a little confusing. We'll try to talk through that in a minute. Okay, so now you're going to adjust this right here, and he's going to just do some steady whacks. Now, where do we want to be? That's good. Where do we want to be in terms of level?
Like 25.
Huh?
Middle range. Like on 25, 20.
Well, we kind of think I think kind of like -6 dB, and this is the dB scale over here, which is looking around between 20 and 15 on that right-hand scale. Now when you get a peak, which you did on the very first thing, that's option C to clear it, or you can click on it. Okay, let's try that again. Just wax. I think it'd be a little more. Good. Now how did that get peaked? All right, clear your peak again. This is while we're doing the, yeah, good. It's while we're doing the drum. It's difficult to manage. Okay, try that again, Brandon. Okay. It's a little hot. Now we have options here. We do have a -10 dB switch on this microphone. So I'm going to do that. Let's see the difference. Clear your peak. Clear your peak.
Okay.
All right. That's going to do.
Okay.
All right. So let's record it as is, and then we'll do some other things. Okay?
What do you want to play?
I think Burning of Paris.
Okay.
Okay, you know what to do next to record. Okay, you've got the mix in your way here, so get to the edit. And you need to get to your transport. This is your transport, so you're gonna arm this. So you not only must arm the track, but you've got to arm the transport, okay? Now, he can click on play, or he can just hit the space bar, and that begins the recording. Got that? Okay, so Brandon's gonna just play some rolls and some paradiddles and stuff. All right, so the way we do this is we say, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, in 5, 4, you go ahead and start. 3. Okay, that looks entirely saturated, doesn't it? But one thing is, do you see this scale here? The audio zoom out. But when we zoom out, it looks completely saturated still, doesn't it? It really does. So, let's turn the phantom power off. And now we're just going to play back. You've just heard what he's done, right? So how do our speakers reflect that? Go ahead, hit play. That didn't seem terribly reflective of what I heard, did it to you? What do you think?
It sucked. Not the recording, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, we're just playing recording engineer right now. We're
Yeah.
not playing. Let's just go ahead and admit that we know that Brandon's better than that. I think the level was still too high. So what we're going to do is put our phantom power back on, and we're going to see this double thing here. This says go to end. And what that means is it goes all the way to the last recorded spot. If you don't have that, if you don't do that, you'll record over what you just did. Okay, so please to arm us again. Now, we're going to take the levels way down.
Hit record up here.
You're all good there. Let's clear our levels. The thing is, the instantaneous attack of the percussion will sometimes peak your levels and it doesn't really even sound that loud. Does that make sense? So we're a lot closer now. Do you see the difference? And we're using a large diaphragm microphone. Okay, so in 5, are you ready?
Yeah.
In 5, 4. That was great. Okay, let's again, since we just heard it, hit play. That's not great, really. It doesn't really sound like the drum, you know what I mean?
Let me take this off. Right.
You know what would make the difference? Well, how would it sound more like what we're hearing?
Put it further
Further
away.
bit. Further bit.
Yeah, I think so. So do that thing about advancing to the end, and now we'll need a little more level, just like a little bit of a turn. And percussion is omnidirectional, so it's not really, we can only point the mic at it. We can't point it at the mic so much. All right, are you all ready? Are you ready? In 5, 4. What happened there? Let's do the big Control Z on that and maybe.
The phantom panel went on.
Are you ready?
I have paid for this shit. All right, are we ready? You ready? In 5, 4. Okay, see, that was a lot lower, wasn't it? Let's just hear that, but we'll turn the volume way up. Okay? So our levels are probably too low. Well, let's do this. I'm going to select just that clip. Do you see how just that is highlighted? Now I'm going to go to the audio suite to Other, and then I'm going to go to Normalize. What Normalize does, you can do it two different ways. One is to root mean square, and the other is just peak. We want to use peak. Root mean square is going to not be what we want. So if we did this at 100%, 0 dB, we're taking the highest peak of that clip and moving it up to 0 dB. And we'll try that. And now, did I hit it?
Yeah, you flip
It doesn't seem any bigger, does it? Okay then, hit some plays. It did not normalize, did it? Let me sit there a second. Okay, because I had the volume all the way up. Now what I did notice was it sounded a lot more like a drum. Now I'm going to move this to extreme. I'm going to roll out on it so we can see this. I'm going to undo the last normalization because nothing happened here. Let's just move this away. Clip. Yeah, I don't know what the difference was there. I'm going to undo it and then try it the other way I just did, entire selection. I'm not sure the difference there. I sure like that clip by clip better though. Okay, so let's listen with the normalized now. That sounded a little more drumming. Now, what we can do is right on the insert here, I'm going to put a plug-in on the dynamics. And I'm going to use something called Maxim. Now, we'll put in a CD mastering there. Let's see if we can hear the difference. There's a big difference when you put the compressor on. Let's put a different compressor on it. Maxim is sort of a final thing. But you'll look under, let's do this compressor limiter. Now what a compressor does is takes your softs and brings them up to a certain loudness and keeps your loudnesses from. Now if you clip something, compression's not going to help. Now what a limiter does is just cut the volume off, right? I mean, it just cuts it off. So we generally don't want to use limiters. Now with our we can look at our presets and we're just going to click on Tom's Tight for some reason. Now what's happening here is there's a 22 millisecond, so that's 2/100ths of a second on the attack. Now what does the attack mean? That it's not doing anything for the first 22 milliseconds. That gives the instrument its characteristic attack sound. That's how we identify things, is how the attack sounds. I just said that twice, didn't I? All right. Now, it has a 5 to 0.1 ratio. There's a release. There's a threshold. -24 is the threshold and the gain here. So what we can look over here is the level going in and the level going out. Is it being reduced or is it being increased? Looks like reduced, doesn't it? Let's try a different, let's do the snare annihilator. Not sure what that did. Hard limiting. Now this is not compression, this is just hard limiting. That sounds more like the original drum. So let's put some, let's put a pump on it. Now what the pump does is just gets everything almost to the same level, and we have a very short attack, 3 milliseconds. See how much gain was reduced in that? That was not really that pleasant, was it? Steamroller, it sounded like an echo, but now you can look at the graphs and see where it just gets cut. Lots of clips there because the limiter has just clipped it right off. Now for the radio. That just keeps everything kind of at the same level. Let's try a different preset than that one. Red 3 compressor. This is built by Focusrite. It's really pretty. Let's put our drum snare compressor on it and see what it sounds like. Right, let's hear it without the compressor. By clicking this box, oh, well, never mind, that wasn't it. By clicking this bypass, that's without. This is with. I didn't really hear that much difference. Let's do this. Let's leave it on and record one more clip before we go with a little higher. This time I want you to like forte.
Alright.
Give us a little more to work with. Maybe even like one of those fasty sounding things. Like, you ready?
Yeah.
In 5, 4. Let's try that again. Seems like maybe we're counting off or something. Let's just turn these no count-offs. All righty. In 5, 4, 3. Okay, let's hear that. That was way too low, wasn't it? Let's take our -10 off. One more time, Brandon, and that's going to do us. You still hanging in there?
Yeah.
I don't know why this is working so funny. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Keep playing. Excellent. I don't know. Oh, phantom power. Let's do that one more time. It was a little soft. Okay. Let's wait for it to start. Excellent. Okay. Why is this? Great, one more time. What? I think that worked pretty good. So, we've done some drumming, we've put some compression on it. How do you go about getting a good recording on this? Well, you just kind of work it out till it starts sounding okay and make sure that the performance is kind of the same thing you're doing as in the sound check. Sometimes people will give you a sound check, but then when you hit record, they get all excited and they either play a lot louder or a lot softer. You know, just the nerves. So, anyway, let's give Brandon a big round of applause. Thanks very much. And I will see you on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Wow.
Was it peaking? Like when it like?
No, I think it's okay. And with the compressor, it took the peaks off. It just sort of rounded off the top.
Mhm.
What I cannot understand is why we are pre-rolling this every time.
Yeah, but it had that count off in the beginning.
Why?
Is it okay if I go to drum on? I gotta.
Go.
Right.
Yeah, I'm taking care of all of this. as
You may hit stop on
punishment
this?
For being so confused.
I'm gonna leave the camera rolling for you then.
Okay, appreciate that. We'll see you.
Okay.
What have I done?